What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the chit-chat podcast. My name is Alex. Thank you for listening in today. We have a fantastic episode just ahead for you. I did want to note that we recorded this last summer, and I am so excited to finally release this to you. Don't forget to stick around to the end of the interview for a song from Atlaas's self-titled album, which of course you can find links to in the episode description and on the newly refreshed straight2amp.com. Without further delay, enjoy the episode. And welcome back to Straight to Amp, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alex here, your host, joined by Brian. What's going on, Brian?
Nothing. It's really hot outside.
Yes, it is very hot outside. We're also joined in the room by DC. What's going on, DC?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just looking forward to our guest today.
Our guest.
Aww.
We have a very special guest today. I'm very excited to introduce, but I will let her take the honors. We have Heather from Atlaas.
Oh, hey, it's me, Heather from Atlaas.
It's Heather from Atlaas. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here. It's so nice to see you guys and meet you all.
We are very honored to have you here. This has been a terrific, something that we've been looking forward to for a little while.
Oh, that makes me so happy. It was so nice running into you at Folk Fest.
Yes.
We met at Folk Fest.
We met at Folk Fest.
He was like, I'm from the podcast.
I figured it was about time I put a face to the name, which I'm always trying to get a little better at. Unfortunately, it was day 3. It was a Friday or Saturday.
I thought you were just like a random person running up and being like, hey.
It's actually kind of funny because my girlfriend was volunteering there. And I said, did you see Alex this week? And I said, yeah, I did. I saw him once. And he looked like he was on a mission to go talk to somebody. He stopped and talked to a girl. I'm like, oh, that was probably one of the people we want to interview. So.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, must have been me. Or some other girl. Don't tell me about that.
No. ...
Yes, it was. Yes, it was definitely. I would have said hi, but I was focused. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I got to do an
good.
introduction here.
I appreciate it. I do.
So how was your
appreciate
Folk Fest?
it. Oh, it was so nice. It was so hot.
There's absolutely nothing like just having a weird random guy just storming up to you with the look on his face that like, hey,
Yeah,
I
like,
really need to talk to you.
Yeah.
So totally at Folk Fest, no less, where he could be, under all kinds of influences. You never know, right? So.
Yeah. Although I feel like I would probably feel the safest of anywhere if that happened anywhere. That happened anywhere, I feel like I would be the safest at Folk Fest because there's just so many people there. If that happened like on the street at 2 a.m., it might be a different story, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to me at 2 a.m. either
No.
on the street. Folk Fest, it was a hot morning. I was sweating and wearing probably something that hadn't been washed in a little while. It was a good time.
Same.
Wasn't my best form, but I'm glad
It's
you
okay.
were
No,
at least
me
you didn't
either.
run away screaming, so I appreciate that.
Oh, of course not.
So at Folk Fest, obviously, there's a whole bunch of really awesome inspirational acts to
Oh my
see and everything, and you spend a lot of time listening to stuff that maybe you hadn't heard before. Was there any act in particular that like really stood out as like A, really inspirational and B, like something that you really enjoyed?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Enlighten us.
Okay, so I have seen Bahamas before a couple of times, and I enjoyed them, and I thought it was good, and I saw that they were playing main stage, and I was like, okay, that's something that I want to see. And it was just like another level of Bahamas. Like, I don't remember what that guy's name who sings in that band, but he's so confident, and he's not afraid to be cheesy, and that was like, that's one thing that I try to embrace in my own music and in my own creativity is like not being embarrassed of the things that I like and leaning into things that like make me feel, even if they're not like the coolest sound or the most avant-garde beat or whatever, like I try to just give my 110% to what I really love. And that's what it felt like he was doing. And he did it in such a stylish, casual, confident, funny way that it was just so exciting to watch. It was so exciting to watch. That was my favorite thing, I think, that I saw at Folk Fest.
That I can say when I've seen you play live, you have a very natural way of just kind of rolling with the crowd and into it. That's something I really always try and do every time I go up on the stage or in front of people is just play a little more naturally and kind of roll with the punches and trying to like poke fun at myself. Sometimes I just feel awkward on stage or whenever I'm in a group, so that's just how I decide to act. Oh, hey, I'm Alex. I'm standing here now, guys.
Yeah. I feel really awkward on stage almost all the time, so I'm with you there. I'm just like, what's gonna make me seem charming to the audience?
Do you have a pre-stage ritual before going on? Like, do you get into a zone before you hit the stage?
I do have a ritual. I don't necessarily get into a zone, but I probably do like half an hour of stretching before. I don't really warm up my voice. Like, I don't sing to warm up, but I'll do some like that kind of stuff. And then me and my band always have a shot of whiskey before we go on stage together.
I was gonna say a little warm up with Jameson's always
Yeah, a little
goes
Jameson.
far.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the backstory of Atlaas. How did it form? You've been around for a few years now. I saw you back first around 2014 at Rainbow Trout, and so.
Well, where did it all begin? Actually, it began quite a lot earlier than that. I started using Atlaas as my pseudonym or whatever. Probably, I don't even know, maybe 10 years ago, like a really long time ago. I went to jazz school for a couple of years, then I left and I started doing music again a couple years after that. And I guess it was like probably about 10 years ago that I started using Atlaas. And it was just a name that I could have for myself where I could put music online and not feel super exposed. And I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't in the scene. I didn't know anyone. Like, I'd never met any, like, I wasn't friends with musicians. I was just sitting in my bedroom doing my thing. And I had a friend who was in film, and she was making like a sci-fi movie, kind of like it was called Space Hotel. It was very funny. And she needed a song for the closing credits, and she asked me to write one. And this guy that had been working on the soundtrack, I believe, was gonna produce it. So we went into his studio, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit. And I listened to some of his music, and I got super into it, and I was like, hey, would you maybe I should put together some kind of music EP demo, I don't know, sort of recording. And I asked him to help me, and we started working together, and we worked together for about 6 months, and then we decided to start playing together. And then our first show was Big Fun, I think. It was a pretty good show.
That's a festival, right? I've heard the name before. Okay.
Yeah, we had played, like, there's this showcase that happens through Manitoba Music, and there was like the 3 acts. It was at the Windsor. There were 3 acts. They always bring in like industry people from around Canada. And it started at 8, and I think we were after the showcase, but we ended up going on like at 10 o'clock when it was just filling up, and like all the industry people were there and all the crowd was there. And so we got this super sick opening slot for our first ever show, and that kind of set the ball rolling. No
Atlaas. Pressure, just have everyone come in on the first show.
Right. It was terrifying. I was playing a guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No.
It was definitely a lot of pressure to start out, but I think I definitely tried to rise to the occasion. Not always, but.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's go to just before Atlaas, or
Sure.
even more at the start of this all. What 2 things? What inspired you to sing, and what inspired your sound vocally?
Well, I started singing with my dad because my dad was a musician, or is a musician, in his spare time, and he always had like bands playing. When I was growing up, when I was little, I would run downstairs. I would be like 6 years old and run downstairs, be like, "I'm trying to sleep. You guys need to stop playing," because they're just having band practice in the basement. But we started playing together, and we would sing together. And then he had this little recording studio that he set up in his basement. And we started making like a Christmas album to give to our family. And I started writing songs. And then I guess my parents were like, "Oh, you like this and you sound pretty good, so we should put you in lessons." So I took singing lessons when I was 11.
Nice.
So I was doing classical singing up until I graduated from high school. And I really wanted to go to Juilliard. Like, that was my dream, that I would become an opera singer. And then I checked out how expensive it was. Yeah. Like prohibitively. Okay.
Prohibitively
need-
expensive.
Like having to take out 2 or 3 extra mortgages
Right.
expensive.
Like buying several houses almost.
Very
Yeah.
expensive, way too expensive. I mean, like, obviously if you go there, it's a very cool experience and you get all the training you
Probably.
could ever ask for, but at the same time, like, that's like debt for the rest of your life. Scary.
Yeah, and you're going to be a musician after that, so are you ever going to pay it off? Who knows? Anyway, I didn't do that. I went to jazz school for a couple years, didn't really like feel it too much, and I left. And then I kind of thought I was done with music because it was kind of like a heart crushing experience at jazz school. I wouldn't say like the whole experience was bad, but I definitely didn't come out of it with like an excitement and a passion for music. So I kind of quit, and then I went to theater school. And when I finished theater school, I was like, I feel like I have something to say now. Like, I feel like I know myself a lot better. I feel like I'm a better student of human nature, and that's what I really care to talk about. So I wanted to start making music that was a little bit more that was more me. And that's when I started kind of figuring out what I wanted. And I listened to a lot of different jazz singers, and I listened to Mariah Carey a lot, and Whitney Houston, and the Backstreet Boys, and Eva Cassidy, and Kurt Elling, and Eric Clapton, and Bonnie Raitt, and like just everybody that was an amazing storyteller and or an amazing singer. And that's what I wanted to emulate. So that's kind of where I started developing what I do now.
Cool. So this past spring, you released your EP Moontown.
It's called Atlas, but
Oh,
yes.
self-titled Atlas.
Yeah, Moontown's definitely one of the songs.
Pardon me. I wrote down Moontown beside it because I'm like, don't forget, Alex.
That's the single.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go. It's okay. We're still friends.
It's my first time. Yeah.
Just kidding. We're not going to.
Yeah, why not? So everyone knows just how rough I am around the edges. So your recent release, your self-titled album, Atlas.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Yes, I did just put out an EP. That's exciting. That was in the spring. Yep. We did like a little soft launch in November. We did a show at the planetarium and kind of handed out copies there. And then we put it out officially in June, at the beginning or middle of June at some point.
How does a show at the planetarium work? I'm wildly interested in that.
Honestly,
is it like a full-on like laser Floyd show? Is there like planets? Like, do you get to cool stuff going on while you play music?
Yep.
That's amazing.
I
Yeah,
know,
right?
guys. It was sold out, so
Where's my
you wouldn't have
invite?
been able to come. Oh, we didn't know each other, man. Come on. Next time.
Next time.
The planetarium show was amazing. We wanted to do something that was not like the usual EP release, like not like in a bar or in a theater or in a house. We wanted to do some kind of alternative venue, and we tried a bunch of different ones, and none of them, either they were too expensive or they weren't what we thought they would be. And then someone thought the planetarium, and we were like, oh, that's like too corporate. Like they're never gonna let us come play music in there. But we had a meeting with them, and we were like, this is what we want to do. And they were like, I think we can do it. And their projectionist put together a whole show for us based on our songs, like tailored to our songs.
So this is every bit as awesome and crazy as I'm picturing it, though.
Honestly, people were screaming from the audience at times. I couldn't really see the show because we were performing, but it was pretty exciting to hear the audience reaction because it was like exactly what we hoped it would be.
Yeah, that might go down as one of the coolest sounding EP releases I've heard of.
It went well.
No doubt. So what are the plans after that? You have some shows coming up. Some festivals this summer. Do you have a tour lined up, or is that coming out in the fall?
We're playing Harvest Sun in August. Pretty excited. Haven't been to that festival, but I've heard really cute things. It's like a nice little family fest.
Nice.
So I can't wait to go camp. And then we're playing Harvest Moon, sorry. All the harvests in September. Another awesome camping festival. Love it. I've been there a few times and it's so good. So fun.
Where is Harvest Moon again?
Oh. I want to say Clearwater, but
I think that sounds
Clearwater.
right. Somewhere around there.
I'm really bad with places.
You're preaching
and
to the choir.
names.
Like maybe it's somewhere around.
Maybe it's
somewhere
in
again.
Manitoba somewhere. I feel like it's in Manitoba somewhere. Yeah, Clearwater. Yeah, and as for other shows, like I'm working on a couple of other things that aren't out yet.
Super secret.
Just like not fully booked, so I wouldn't
Fair
want to. And right now we're kind of just like putting together stuff to do later in the year, kind of visuals and some
cool.
new music. Kind of, we're working on a little bit of collaborations. Yeah.
And you are playing Rainbow Trout this year too, right?
No, we're not.
No?
No. That video that you saw was from last year. And Harvest Sun's actually the same weekend as Rainbow Trout.
Oh, so that means you're not going to be hosting the karaoke.
Oh my gosh.
You're breaking my heart right now, by the way.
Breaking my heart. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
That was so fun last
so
year.
for anyone hasn't been to the Rainbow Trout Festival, every Saturday evening there is a small karaoke or an open mic,
It's like an open mic, yeah.
to around a little pond at the entire campsite. Crowds around and just listens to everyone rock out with their own
so
songs,
nice.
and there's this just beautiful, magical little scene. Look up Rainbow Trout, find the videos, and you'll see what you're missing out on. I don't think their tickets have sold out yet, so a little shout out to
Ooh.
Rainbow Trout. If you
La la.
haven't been, you should go.
I second that. I've been like the last 5 years, I think, or 4 years in a row, and it's like my first year not going.
So you mentioned collaborations and stuff like that. So a two-parter, do you find the collaborations like really do help you expand your listener base? And how important is it to have like constant releases in this day and age in terms of just
Ooh.
content?
That's something I thought about quite a lot recently, especially with the releases. I don't think I'm necessarily like at a level where people are gonna forget about me if I don't release something in 6 months, just because it's like such a local thing. I know a large majority of the people that come to my shows, and I've spoken to them. So it's not about. I don't think I'll lose like the cultural connection if I'm not putting something out all the time. But I do think if you're wanting to expand your audience and reach people outside of your little bubble, then it maybe is a really good thing to put out singles every few months, so that they're, even if they're not listening to your song, they're seeing your name, and then maybe like the third time they see it, they're like, oh, maybe I should check this song out. Yeah, I'm kind of like waffling between putting out a bunch of singles and then putting out an album next. So you kind of caught me in like a who knows what's going to happen situation. But right now I think we're putting out a couple of singles in the fall, winter that are not on the EP. So we've chosen a direction, I guess. Was there another part of that question?
Yeah, with collaborations, you mentioned that
Oh,
you were
yeah.
going to do some collaborations. Do you find that really expands your like listener base any more than before? Have you done any then you've noticed and people been like, oh, well, you did that with X before, that sort of thing?
No, I've never had anyone come up and be like, oh, I heard this collaboration you did, because I've only done like maybe one or two. So I don't know if I have an answer for that yet. Maybe ask me next year. Will do. Yeah, this is my first, I would say this stuff that I'm working on right now. I'm working on a couple of songs with Adam Haney. And that would be like the first real, like, beginning to end collaboration that we're both going to see through for myself. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to go. We're still in like the putting the songs together stages.
Cool.
Cool.
Look at all this dead space we have to cut out.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hello.
That's what the editor's
Okay.
for.
I remember where I was going with this now. Okay. So you talked about you never really were out in the scene much. You kind of started in the room and then got out into the scene.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that I talk with a lot of people these days, and a lot of people are faced with that barrier of it may be fear, it may be the unknown of getting out and meeting other musicians. I know for me, like I was always a basement jammer. I was always nervous to go and do it, and then until I finally did it, finally broke the ice, and it was like the most fun I ever had. And I always ask a lot of musicians or artists or singers words of wisdom to help others who are in that same situation to get out.
Oh my gosh.
Find someone who has a studio.
Yeah. Don't get out. I don't know. I still struggle with that. I'm like a homebody. I'm like a hermit who enjoys seeing people like once a week. So when I started like joining the scene or like finding the scene, I kind of forced myself to go outside my comfort zone and go to shows that I wouldn't have known about before or wouldn't have gone because I was by myself. And that's like a really terrifying experience. And I don't think there's anything that you can say that's going to make it less terrifying for someone. I think has to be a choice that you make, that your goals are more important than your fears. So for me, I also hate talking to people in a public setting. I hate it. And I always feel like everyone's judging me, you know, like that's just who I am. I'm like really self-conscious and I don't want people to look at me. But I think the best thing is just to like focus on what you really want, and especially when you're getting out there, like don't worry about like making good connections. Like don't worry about finding the best people. Like just make friends that have common interests.
And that cliche, don't let others don't worry about what other people think of you kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's like maybe it's for you, like for me it's a constant struggle, but you have to keep pushing and like making yourself do the things that you're afraid of, I think.
Yeah. Can you think of a time like that was that was the best show I ever had? It was like in an early time where at the end of that set you're like you were nervous to go on, but you came off and you just like that was awesome. Did you ever have one of those moments?
I'm pretty critical of myself, so usually when I come off stage I'm like, okay, well we messed up here and here, hopefully no one noticed, and like they really liked this song. You know, I'm like pretty analytical.
Yeah.
I would say after last year's Rainbow Trout show, though, that was probably the most elated feeling I've had after a show. Just because, like, we had a balloon release and we had a confetti cannon, and it wasn't like all on me to
Were you witness to
entertain.
Of course I was. You saw a confetti cannon and a balloon release, and that wasn't the first thing you did to prop up, is it?
We did it. And then the next day, like, all the volunteers were like mad because there was confetti all over the ground and I had to go clean it up.
The show.
It was a really, really fun night and everyone was so into it. The best shows are when the crowd like is feeling you and you're feeling them, and the energy is just going back and forth, and you can like move without even thinking about it.
Yes.
And yeah.
I totally agree with you. When you're on stage, you do feel that. Elaborate on that feeling.
Oh
that
my
stage,
God.
That's that stage presence, that crowd kickback you get.
It's the best feeling that I've ever felt, probably. It's just like, for me, my body's like filled with energy and everything flows. Like, I don't have to think about what I'm going to do next. I just move, I just sing. Everything's easy because I know that they're with me and that people are like feeling what I'm putting out, you know? Like, I don't know if there's anything that I've ever felt that's better than that. Just like fills you.
It's addicting to say the least.
Yeah.
Even after the first once or twice I played on stage, scared shitless. Yes, we can swear on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's okay. Out of my mind, finished the set. Knew there was a couple scripts, but I'm like, I'm going back up there next time. I will do a second set tonight if I have to. It's just addictive. And even if like the crowd's wasn't even fully feeling it, it's just, I don't know, something about going up there and just really hammering it out and coming back for more that just makes the live experience just so much more.
It's true.
I mean, yeah, it is really like an ebb and flow, right? When you're up there and you're playing, you are giving all of your energy to the crowd, and then when you're done, and they take it and use it, and when they're done, they just give it all. Like when you're done, they just give it all right back, and it's just a really nice flow. At least for me. I don't know if that's the same with everybody else, but
I agree. I think what's really fun is like making eye contact with someone in the audience, and like totally. Because when you make eye contact with a stranger, it's awkward. But in that moment, it's like this beautiful moment where you're sharing something that maybe you'll never speak. But you shared like this energy exchange that's really special.
Definitely, yeah.
I was actually listening to an interview of one of my favorite singers, and he's talking about he's singing like a very slow, dramatic song, which does build up. But he's saying it was such a dark moment. But he locked eyes with this girl in the front of the stage who was crying, and he was so fixated, and he couldn't take his eyes off of her that it almost made him emotional from it. Like he could feel her emotion back.
Oh, it's so cool. I love that. It's like that would be like the extent of where you could take it, I guess. Like is feeding off each other's emotions. Maybe that would take it too far, where you're like eating the emotions so much that you're expressing them again. But that's like a deep, deep, deep connection for sure.
I've definitely had people in the audience make me laugh at inappropriate times before. That's never like helpful, but it's helpful at the same time. It's hard to describe.
Just like a little release there. Just like tension goes away.
Have you ever had any situations where an audience member or something just kind of was distracting you, or kind of maybe, I don't know, heckling? Any situations where you just wanted to go, you knock it off? Giving the teacher the finger wag.
I did play a New Year's show a couple of years ago in like a third or fourth story in the Exchange. You guys know the Rocker?
Yeah.
So I played a show in there, and all of a sudden at the back of the room, it wasn't in the main Rocker room, it was like in the yoga room.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I could see from the back of the crowd like this swaying at the back of the crowd, like massive swaying, almost like they were stepping from one side of the room to the other all together, or moshing maybe. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then it turned out it was two guys like having a huge brawl, so we had to stop the show. We were like, get out of here. And there was no security, it wasn't controlled. Like it was probably, it was very late, and it was all drunk people. But we got it under control. We got them out of there. People who were throwing the show got them out of there. But that was probably I don't think we did anything. We stopped the show. We stopped playing and like waited for them to leave. But I don't think I have any experiences where I've seen someone that I was like, you stop, or
that just triggered your OCD for a moment.
I'm easily distracted.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Most of the time when I played, I just couldn't see out into the crowd. I don't know what it was, but it was like I always just got really blinded by the house lights or whatever the heck, the spotlights.
Yeah.
I just can't.
That's the best way to do it, though, because then you're not going to get distracted, and you can kind of, sometimes it's not as nice to not be able to see the audience because then you don't know how they're doing. But sometimes it is nice if you've got nerves or.
Yeah. No, so I was always, I don't know. I just feel like I wouldn't necessarily get super distracted because whenever I'm playing, I'm just like always really into playing while I'm playing. I don't really just pay attention. I just kind of, it's the music and nothing else.
I think if anything distracting happened, it would have to be really Like it would have to be very obvious. Like someone
Yeah.
would have to come on stage.
Like a brawl, for example.
right, like a brawl.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and you didn't see like any of it. You just saw like the crowd moving back and forth.
We saw, because the stage was, I think it was on the floor. So
Right. I think that's the way it is there. And
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just standing on the floor and we could see like
Heads.
a sea of heads. It was packed. Yeah, just like moving, swaying back and forth. So I think maybe at one point the lights got turned on. Maybe we saw some fists flying, but
Oh, haymakers. That's unfortunate. I don't know. I've always been kind of perplexed by people who get into like actual fist fights at concerts. There's,
Oh,
you
yeah.
think you're there to share music and be happy. Like, what do you?
Especially an Atlaas show.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing there, getting into a fight with somebody? It's just
it's
ridiculous.
not the right vibe for that.
No.
No.
Close.
No.
Read the room.
Go to a metal show like everybody else.
Yeah, that's what that's for.
See you at the Windsor. We'll be there. Speaking of the Windsor, what are your favorite venues to play in Winnipeg? Do you have any?
That's a straight to amp.
That's a
That's a
very
straight to amp,
that's a
sick.
very us question.
Okay, wow. Well, I have to give a serious signature answer. I think the room I've played in most is probably the Goodwill.
I love the Goodwill.
Yeah.
So good.
Nice.
I really like the stage and the sound set up there and the sound guys there and the staff there and the food and everything, the crowd that goes there, it's good. I would have to say my all-time favorite venue to play in is probably the Planetarium. Yeah, I can't really go back from that at this point. Like that's the peak now and I have to try and match it or surpass it. So
Actually, that you just tied into my next question. What would be the surpass? What would be the ultimate venue that you would love to play? Could be anywhere.
I haven't played the Burt yet. That would be a good one to play.
That'd be sweet.
But I'm sure this is like every indie band's answer, but I would love to play with the Symphony.
Actually, I haven't heard that yet.
Oh.
No, I haven't heard anybody else say that.
Okay, well,
You could add so much more depth to this sound. Yeah.
I think it would go well. It wouldn't be that, yeah, I think we could do it.
I concur.
But that would be I think that's a little 1-2 years in the future maybe.
Nice.
Who knows? Folk Fest also. I'd love to play Folk Fest.
Oh yeah,
That's,
we've talked about this many times. We talked with some previous guests. It's like we would like to see a lot more local talent play there, even if it means getting like a small little stage off to the side somewhere, and it's just like this is all local music.
This year was pretty good, I thought. They had, I mean, at least for the bands that I knew, I was like, okay, all my friends are playing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but I agree. I think there's always room for more music at Folk Fest.
Oh yeah, especially local music. All right, here's another question for you.
Okay.
If you could, your inspirations are wide and vast, from Mariah Carey
Yeah.
to Eric Clapton.
Totally.
If you could pick up one person out of all that group to sing with one song, who would it be?
Kurt Elling.
And why?
Oh my God, he's just so good. Like he is so good. He's just so good. And I just can't even explain to you how much I love him. I met him once and I think I cried. Like it's that kind of level of like adulation. His voice is so smooth. Have you guys ever heard Kurt Elling sing? You have to go listen to like a song now because he has everything. He can do it all, but he's really good at like the smooth ballady type. He's a jazz singer. Smooth ballady type songs, which is obviously in my wheelhouse. Yeah, it'd be him or Eva Cassidy, but she's dead.
Yeah, a little bit of homework to do. Looping back to the venue type thing, every single one of us here have venues that we enjoyed that are no longer functioning.
Oh, yeah.
What Winnipeg venue that is no longer in commission would you like to play a show at?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's really hard. I don't know if I can think off the top of my head what all the Winnipeg, like I can remember Low Pub. I've played there. What else has been closed recently? I mean, the Albert. Right. Those are more like hardcore venues, though, I feel. I thought the Albert was such a cool looking place that if I could have possibly played a show there, I would have, for sure.
It had its own aesthetic and its own crowd by the end days when I went there.
Yeah.
It still was more of a punk and metal scene, but I would have loved to play there before it shut down.
It was a very gritty and like kind of real place, it seemed like.
We also lost Jekyll and Hyde's this week, which is
Oh,
hosting
really?
last week. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that a
Yeah.
New location.
is that a big venue for you guys?
It was hosted. It was the open mic.
Yeah, a friend of ours hosted an open mic there, and the Village Idiots helped promote it too.
Right.
But they have moved. They moved to Sonic's at Confusion Corner.
They
Oh,
also
good.
used to do. They also used to do comedy stand up, and I would.
Yeah.
When I was
amazing.
living on Cord, and I'd go over there on Mondays and do stand up. And
Oh, I feel like I've seen you do stand up.
there's a
I used to go
there's
to
a
those.
chance.
I used to go to the more of like the women's nights, but
Fair.
I've definitely been to a few
Yeah.
of the main
No,
ones.
I used to go there every single Monday that I had off. I would be down there doing stand up. So
Okay.
yeah,
I've never seen. I didn't know you did stand up.
I didn't know you were funny.
I'm not. That's
That
why.
was a-
That's why I'm
that was
not
a
still
burn.
doing it.
That was a burn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I only ever did Jekyll and Hyde's because it was just close enough, right? And it just worked with my schedule, and they at least pretended like my stuff was good. So
They're supportive there, I found.
Yeah.
They've all moved to Johnny G's now, though, eh?
yeah,
Smaller, more intimate.
further away.
Yeah, that's true. Same. Yeah. It's cozy.
So, for anybody who's new getting to Atlas, what's something you want them to know specifically as like a new listener?
I don't know. I think I would just. That's a really tough question.
Made you think there.
What would be something that I want them to know?
Yeah, just like a little intricate detail about a certain song, or like an
Okay.
influence, or like anything,
Sure.
anything that you would want them to know about your stuff.
I think one thing that you could maybe get deeper into if you're listening to the songs, like listening to the lyrics and thinking about the lyrics, is that if you, like, each song is about more than one thing. So on the surface, maybe it sounds like it's a romantic relationship, or it's like a something. I don't know. What are my songs about? It's like about getting a moon tan. There's like a deeper layer that's all about self-discovery and self-acceptance and self-exploration that creates like a through line through all the songs. So if you wanted to listen to that and think about it in a different way, then you could.
Cool.
Are you a dog person or a cat person?
I can already tell you're a dog person.
Yes. Yep.
I'll be honest, I like both,
Okay.
but I have a cat.
High five.
I would get a dog. Have to be really specific.
What kind of dog then?
It can't drool too much because I really don't like drool. Like, it can have a little drool, but my mom has a dog that just like gloops, like it just like goo, like, and he walks past you and there's like just like this thick goo on your pants.
Yep.
I just can't have that. I just can't have that on a regular basis.
Okay.
But I like poodles. And other dogs that don't drool too. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Hard yes.
Good.
You know what doesn't drool? Cats.
Generally, I've met a cat who does drool, but he was really, really old.
That's totally legit. Actually, I know one kitten that drools. It just rubs its face against you because
Okay, but also their mouths are so much smaller, so they have less coming out of it. So it's kind of cuter.
yeah,
the
it's
drool.
pretty cute. I can handle a little bit, but
A
like
little bit.
I've also had friends' dogs that just leave stains all over the furniture and your pants. It's like, oh,
Or if like the dog goes to sniff your crotch and then like leaves like this like big patch of something, you're like, okay. Now everyone thinks I did something to myself. I don't know.
Jeez, 30 years of having cats and dogs myself, I have not had a cat or a dog that has drooled.
Wow, oh my God, you're blessed. You're living a blessed life.
Yeah, no, 27 years of dogs, none that drool. Nope. No
Good
drool.
breeds, I guess.
That's a lie.
No, I'm serious. I had a Sheltie and a Border Collie
Okay.
Husky cross, and
All
no
right.
drooling. None.
Well, I believe you.
I want a Saint Bernard, so lots of drooling in the future.
Gross. Gross.
They're just
Swear,
gotta be
babe.
cute, big, and you can ride it into battle if you need to.
That's fair. That's a legitimate reason.
Well, before we wrap things up, is there anything else you want to shed some light on with us or talk about?
God, I feel like I bared a lot of my soul to you guys. Maybe you didn't notice, but it happened.
I felt it right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want everyone to know that I love them, and I hope they have a great day.
You heard it here, you heard it here first, folks. Have a great day. Share some love. Before we wrap up, I want to give a big thank you for coming out. It was a pleasure to meet you here and at Folk Fest, so thank you for saying hi and not running away. Do you have plugs, social media you want to share?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram. It's Atlaas, Atlaas Music. Come to my Facebook page and like me there. Same handle. And you can go on any streaming service and listen to the EP. Just search Atlaas, Atlaas. Might help if you do search Moontan, because there's a lot of other spellings and other artists out there with a similar name. So be specific. I know. I know. It's a real conundrum. So, yeah, go do that. Go listen to my stuff. Check it out.
We'll have all of your social media handles and links on the episode description. You can follow us on straight2amp.com and also follow us on social media because we like it when you do that. We'll have some music up for you in the near future. Other than that, anything from you, Brian?
We're going to ask the question? We got to ask the question.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I did screw up. There is one more very important question.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's the hardest question ever, and we ask it every single time of every single person that comes on this podcast. I ask it of every single person I interview, regardless of that. So, are you ready for it?
I don't know, but yes.
Is a hot dog a sandwich, and why or why not?
Okay, that's such a good question.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Finally.
Wow.
I can't believe I forgot to ask.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Wow, that's like takes a lot of thought. I'm gonna say it is a sandwich only in the way that a submarine is a sandwich, and they are sub sandwiches, so it is a sandwich.
Validated. I can't even argue against
But I
that.
also don't think it's a sandwich. But it is a sandwich, but I don't think it is. You know, like I'm against it being a sandwich, but it is a sandwich.
You're a sandwich purist.
I like some, you know, a sandwich that I can have a vegetable in, or more than one.
Is a pickle not a vegetable?
Pickle in your wait, hold on. Do you just say you have pickles in your hot dogs?
Do you not?
That's no. You're allowed to have onions and relish.
Relish counts, I'm sure.
Okay, I've never tried that. Have you ever tried peanut butter sriracha hot dogs?
No.
Oh, your life will change.
I'm not.
Peanut butter sriracha hot dogs?
But there's peanut butter, it's creamy.
So you what? Is peanut butter? You put the peanut butter like underneath.
You put it on the bun, then you put the hot dog in the bun, and then you pour the sriracha on top of the hot dog like ketchup.
That's a flavor extreme.
You guys don't even know. It's so good. It's so like it's like eating like I want to say like pad thai sort of. It's got like that spiciness and that sweetness from the peanut butter. It's like
oh yeah.
you guys don't even know.
I know what you're talking about.
More homework.
Oh my gosh.
That's I'm a hard maybe for that one.
I was too until I tried it, and then I haven't tried it again, but it was really good at the time.
I'm very particular about what goes on with my dogs. Very particular.
That's.
You like peanut butter? You like hot dogs?
I mean,
like
your
sriracha?
dogs like peanut butter.
That's fair.
Eh? Bringing it full circle.
I'll still stand on the firm belief that a sandwich is 2 slices of bread, a sub is a long, round piece of bread, and a hot
Right.
dog is on a bun.
Like, is a pita a sandwich? No.
No, it's a wrap.
If the bread connects on one side,
I
like,
mean, like,
is that a sandwich? I don't know.
I've listened to so many of these answers that I'm almost ready to go full sandwich anarchist and say that a Pop-Tart is a sandwich, so I don't even care anymore.
Maybe a Pop-Tart is a calzone.
Or ravioli.
Ooh. Is a Pop-Tart ravioli?
It's just breakfast.
It's
It's
called
just
dessert ravioli.
breakfast ravioli. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to hand it back off to Alex because I'm...
Great. Love it.
straight to stomach.
Oh.
Well, speaking of wraps, I think that's a wrap. Thank you again for coming out.
Aw.
And we'll see you at hopefully Harvest Moon or an upcoming show. We'll
Yes.
keep an eye on your Facebook page for something new and exciting.
Great.
And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me so much, you guys.
Everyone, thanks for listening and have a good one. Peace.
Lying on a beach at night, naked body on the sand. Feel it grip between my toes, underneath my head and hand. I just wanna get a moving. That is what I really need. I just wanna catch some moon rays. Big moon, come down to leave the city far behind. Leave the noises and the names. Leave whatever's on your mind. I promise I will do the same. I just wanna get a moving. That is what I really need. I just wanna catch some moon rays. Big moon, come down to me. Just one touch can make me shake. One moonbeam on a cloudy night. You cross the sky, and in your wake you leave 1,000 twinkling lights. When I'm wrapped in your embrace, I feel running through my veins. And every time you touch my